गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आन शृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सीदसादनम् ॐ श्री महागणपतये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। ॐ श्री महासरस्वत्यै नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओं श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओं। Pranams to the Krishna who is seated in each one's heart. So the first chapter we have already seen talks about the despondency of Arjuna. What do we understand by despondency? That he was totally upset. Instead of shooting the first arrow, because the war cry was already proclaimed by blowing the conches, and instead of starting the war, or what does it show? The first chapter tells us that he became totally upset. He developed a cold feet, so to say. Like sometimes we might have also felt when we went to exams or for an interview and we mess up the entire thing. So that is the entire picture that is painted of Arjuna. The greatest warrior of his times is soon to be completely totally shaken, right? He was shaken completely. So we see that he was in the state of discouragement. He was totally disheartened, plunged in sorrow. Disappointment was written all over his face. Dejection is seen. He's gripped in that sadness, gloomy, and we find Arjuna in a very low spirit, worried, distressed, right? So this state of Arjuna was when he saw that he had to fight his near and dear ones, mainly his Acharya, his Guru, from whom he took the Vidya of shooting the arrows, and also his grandsire. So Arjuna is in the middle of the battlefield, and it is as though he felt that he is going to shoot, or death is inevitable in his hands of his teacher and his uncle or grandsire, right? So his love for his relatives is seen, but is it valid? So it is not valid. See, as such, when we see no thought, no emotion, no act is good or bad, but we have to see in context the overall picture. The overall picture is what? They are all assembled, arrayed. The armies have assembled in the battlefield for fighting. And now this is not the time to have nervous breakdown, right? So it was not at the right time. His intentions, were his intentions right? So when we examine, had he not been in the warfare, had he not been a warrior, then his intentions are good. But being a warrior, his foremost duty is to protect the land, because he is not there to fight an unrighteous war. He is very much there to fight a righteous war. So his state is totally wrong. So intention is also wrong. His love for relatives, if we see one angle, yes. But if the uncle are in the wrong side, right? They are adharmic, they are ready to fight an unrighteous war, then his love is not appreciated, right? So this way, when we analyze, Arjuna's state is of despondency. And what we see, the first chapter tells that he is totally down. He sits on the chariot, totally shaken. There's no energy in him. And this state is not considered good for a warrior of his stature, because he was one of the foremost good warrior at that time, the best warrior in fact. And such state was not good. So this state, what is painted in chapter 1, is totally opposite of what you call surrender. He had as his charioteer Bhagwan himself. So there was no surrender. When there is no surrender to the higher altar, this is the state each one of us will find ourselves. Because human birth is a admixture of good and bad. So we bring with us, when we take birth, we bring both our good karma as well as our bad karma. In the sense, whatever we have done, whatever actions we have done in the past, the fructification of the actions come in the form of results. And when the results come, it will give us pain, or it can give us so now we find that Arjuna is in a state of despondency, totally dejected, in total anguish. He was stressed out, right? And then this happens because there is no surrender. Now we will see what is surrender also. And then what happens? The second chapter, we find that Bhagwan is as though, rebuking him. Bhagwan tells him, what is the state you have found yourself in? Anaryam, ajushtam. Right? So Bhagavan says, from where has this state come into you? This is not a good state. It will bring you No Swarga, it will not bring you Kirti also. Aswargyam akirtihi. Arjuna, Anarya Jishtam. This is not the behavior of a Arya. So we all have to be Arya. So what is Arya? We will see later on as we progress. Right? So this is what? Arya is a person, Kartavya, what he will do what is to be done. Without complaining whether the duty is pleasant or unpleasant. Now, his duty was to fight, and he has come for fighting a righteous war, and where Bhagwan himself is on his side. And Bhagwan wants what? Peace. And Bhagwan had been the peace missionary, and he had been, right? We all know this. But in spite of this, he is acting anarya, because he is thinking of giving up the battle. So it's nothing to do with place or skin. Arya. Arya means what? Something who does his duty. Acharan, kartavya, acharan, karma. He does his duty. Right? So here Bhagwan is criticizing Arjuna. You are anarya, akirtim, it will bring you no fame, because you are going to give up this war. So what you do is you give up this weak-heartedness of yours, because of which your mind is spinning, and discharge your duty. So that is what? Uttishta parantapa. That is what Bhagwan is telling him. Give up all this. Where is your vigor? Where is your vitality? Where is your courage? You are number one warrior, and this I do not find when I see you. Anarya Jishtam. Right? You are thinking of giving up your duties? Is it noble? Does noble one give up their duties? Looking at the circumstances? No. Do your duties. Aswargyam, it will not give you Swarga. Right? And akirti, it will not bring you that required name and fame. Then what happened? Then the second chapter tells us, then what he says, then after having rebuked Arjuna, Arjuna is speaking. So from 8th shloka we find Arjuna is speaking. He says, Oh Krishna.
Yes, ma'am.
So then Arjuna is saying, how can I fight Bhishma and Dronacharya? And that also I have to shoot arrows at them. Those very feet which are worthy of worshipping with flowers. And you are asking me to shoot arrows at them? How can I do that? And do you think I'll enjoy killing all these noble elders? All that wealth, all that accomplishment which will come into my lap, will I enjoy? That is what he is asking Krishna. And I do not know whether I will win the war or will not win the war. That means their army is huge. They can overpower us and maybe we may be slain. I do not know whether to fight or not to fight. So this way he says that karpanya doshaha, that I have been smitten by this karpanya doshaha. Karpanya doshaha is a weak-heartedness. Kripanasya bhavaha is kripanaha. That means a feeling of helplessness has overpowered me. I feel sorry for myself for having to fight this war where I have to kill my own near and dear ones and the revered, worshipful elders in the family and the worshipful teachers. Right? He says, Karpanya doshaha has overpowered me. Dharma sammuda chetaha. He says, I do not know. There's a confusion with regard to my duty, whether I should fight this war or not. See, this happens when we have our will which is surfacing in us. I am the doer. Whenever I feel I am the doer, I have a say in whatever situations are coming to me, then we definitely will be overpowered by the situations. This is completely opposite of surrender. In surrender, what happens? That also we will see. Okay. So dharma sammuda chetaha means the mind is totally confused. The mind is beset with doubts. There's a confusion. What is dharma? What is adharma? What does the Dharma Shastra tell me? Should I fight this war? Should I not fight this war? So that way there's a confusion. Right? And then he says, Yat Shreyaha Syat Nishchitam Bruhitan Me. Oh Krishna, please tell me what is good. And this is where Shreyas and prayers, there's a two path available for us, for each one of us. In every situation, we have two paths right before us. What is Shreyas? What is prayers? What is Shreyas? That which is ultimately good. Prayers is what is pleasant. So this way he found himself facing two paths and he didn't know which path should I choose. So there was a confusion written on his face because he didn't know what is to be done and what is not to be done. He finds himself at crossroads, you can say. Sometimes, we want to go to a place and we do not know which path to take. And suddenly, somebody tells us, okay, you walk straight and then you will reach that place. So when we are walking straight and we come at crossroads. So now I do not know whether I have to go straight or whether I have to take a right turn or left turn. Right? So prayers is pleasant. So all that, if he fights the war, if he kills everyone, so he will be blessed with prayers. That means what? He will get back his kingdom, his wives can live a luxurious life as queens of that time, and he can have the kingdom, he can rule over the kingdom. So this is all prayers. So he says, I do not know what is prayers to me, right? And what is Shreyas? The other is Shreyas. What is Shreyas? Shreyas is the ultimate good. The ultimate good, that means what? We will take the right path according to Dharma. So it is at this critical juncture, Arjuna is confused. Whether should I take the path of pleasant or path that is giving the ultimate good, Shreyas. So he says that I am not able to understand. I am totally overpowered with confusion. Then he surrenders. He says, Shishyaha te aham shadhi bam tvam prapannam. At this moment he is surrendering. There's a total surrender. I am your disciple, he tells to Krishna. On that battlefield, in the midst of the battlefield, where all the armies of both the sides have arrayed for battle, have come up for fighting, the conches have been blown, right? At that time, he is surrendering to Krishna. Guide me, instruct me, because I have taken refuge in you. So what do we understand? We understand that this state of Arjuna, the first chapter, which had painted the state of Arjuna, is talking about prajna aparadaha. This we have seen. Prajna aparadaha comprises of three types of karma. Karma is which may be at the level of kaika, vachika, manasika. It can be at the level of physical, vachika, verbal, or manasika. When we talk about prajna aparadaha, the definition goes like this in Charaka Samhita: Dhi, Dhriti, Smriti, Vibrashtaha, Karma Yat Kurute Ashubham, Prajna Aparadam Tam Vidyat Sarvadosha Prakopanam. Means what? Now the wholesome, unwholesome actions. Prajna Aparadaha means what? Our actions are not complete. Our actions are not wholesome. What should be done, we are not doing. So this is what we find Arjuna. He has to fight the war and he is not willing to fight the war. So this is prajna aparadaha. It is because of what? Dhihi. Dhi brashtaha. Dhi vibramshaha. Means what? Dhi means buddhi. So our buddhi should be in a position to take decision. And that decision can be taken only when we are able to bifurcate what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is not good, what is favorable, what is unfavorable, what is unwholesome act, what is unwholesome act. Because life does not come in white and black. So situations in life come in grey. Grey means what? There's a state of confusion. So we do not know what to do. Ye karna hai ki wo karna hai. So at that time what happens? We are unable to think clearly and behave. Only when we are able to think clearly, we can behave in a right way. When we are unable to think properly, then we do not know how to discern rightly. It is at that time we need the interference of a guru or the person who is detached from this particular situation. Now for him, for Arjuna, he had Krishna before him. Supposing you and I face such a situation, then is it okay for us to approach our family members, the elders in the family? Probably not, because they are also in that same situation as what you are undergoing. So they will not be in a right position, right frame of mind to guide you at that appropriate time. It is always good to take the counsel from someone who is detached from such a situation, so that they can they can advise us rightly and we can come out of that problem. So one is dhi vibramshaha, then we have dhriti vibramshaha. So dhriti means what? Dhriti is having a control, a determination, a firmness, right? So when the determination is shaken, that means instability is there. There is inability to control the mind. That means what? One can indulge in sensual pleasures easily. So that is called dhriti vibramshaha. So what is prajna aparadaha? That is dhi vibramshaha, dhriti vibramshaha, and the last is smriti vibramshaha. Smriti means what? The act of recollection, the act of remembrance, the act of recalling. Correct? So the knowledge which is given to him, he is not able to recollect all that. Correct? Why? Because his mind, see, when do we recollect everything? When the mind is in sattva mode, when it is sattvic. When our mind is in rajasic mode or tamasic mode, see, when we are dull and sleepy, if somebody will ask us knowledge about something, we will not be in a position to say properly. We will say, abhi neend aa rahi hai, kal bata dungi, right? Or bata dunga. When I am fresh and alert and vigilant, I can speak to you well. Not in the state of, sleepiness. So when we are overpowered with tamas or laziness, lazy hai, so at that time also we cannot think high thoughts, right? And when we are rajasic, totally overpowered, we don't want to sit at one place. We want to work and be active. Will we be in a position to guide somebody is highly not possible, right? So, Smriti Vibhramshaha also makes us incapable of recalling what could be the right approach at this particular situation. What choice can I exercise? Therefore, we end up making wrong choices in our life. So, that state of despondency that Arjuna found in the first chapter is exactly opposite of surrender. Had he surrendered to Krishna at that time, probably Gita would not have been spoken by Krishna. Now, Arjuna's state is because Krishna, out of his love, because he could see the future generation, you and I would be sitting and thinking over it on 24th of November 2024 and taking guidance from Krishna's teachings and Arjuna's state of dejection, misery and sadness. So Krishna could see this, and in this light, Krishna is giving us this knowledge. And this knowledge is what is called Sankhya Yoga. And that is where we enter into the second chapter. So before we enter into the second chapter, we understand that the second chapter opens with a note that Arjuna is in dire need of redemption from that state that he finds himself in. He is in a totally state of dejection, you can say depression. Yes, nowadays this is the word that is commonly found. Are, you know what, I am totally depressed, I don't know what to do. So this is exactly the state which the best warrior at that time found himself in. So even if we find ourselves in a state of dejection, depression, nothing to be worried. We only need to find out some solution to come out of it. Just because, dekho na, I'm in this state, nobody is in this state, how did I find, I am very low, I'm incapable. No, if you're in that state of depression or something like that, find out the solution to come out. You need not continue being there. That is wrong. Are you all getting? So, it is okay to be depressed. It is okay to, feel low at times, feel miserable, totally overpowered in sadness. It's okay. But it is not okay to remain there. Do you all agree? So, that is it. When we are in human birth, we will find such situations which will take us down. It's okay. It's okay. आ गया तो इसमें से कैसे निकलना है? So we find somebody, take their advices and see, does this advice suit you? Discuss with somebody close whom you can rely. See, do not discuss your state of despondency with someone who can take advantage. Very important. Otherwise, what will happen, once somebody comes to know and this state is there, even in the future when you are in a very good, lovely state, this person will keep reminding, and put us down. So we have to be very careful with who we are discussing. Very important. Are you all with me? Yes? So we should know from whom we have to take advice also. Okay? So it is, what do we find? So what is the lesson that we get? It's okay to be in a state of melancholy. It is okay to feel hopeless, disheartened, discouraged. It's fine. But it is not at all okay to remain in that state. So what does it mean? Find out the solution. Like Arjuna did. Arjuna surrendered before Lord Krishna. So for us, we will tell, okay, Arjuna ko to Krishna the. What about us? We have Krishna in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So don't think that Krishna is not there with us. The Krishna is there, very much there, and is in a very concise text. See, if we have to study Bhagavatam and all, 1 lakh slokas. Just to study that entire life may go, right? But here we have Bhagavad Gita only with 701 slokas. So can't we devote our human life for 701 slokas? Tell me. So simple, isn't it? So we need to find what is this Shadhimam Prapannam. What is this surrender? This surrender is what we call by the phrase, thy will be done. This is surrender in short. That means whatever is my desire, I just keep it aside. I allow your desire to overpower me. How do we understand this? See, now this mouth for me is an instrument with the help of which I am using it to talk to you all. Correct? So mouth is an instrument. The mouth on its own is not talking, but it is under my control. I am using the mouth to speak or to evaluate the situation that Arjuna has found himself in, and he is not staying there, but he is finding out a solution to come out of it. That is why the birth of Bhagavad Gita has taken place. Are you all with me? Yes? This is what we have to catch. Now, so what is the surrender? Now the surrender is conditional and can be complete. There are two types of surrender. How many types of surrender? Two types of surrender. One is conditional surrender. Conditional surrender is what? We surrender, but certain conditions are laid. Like Arjuna is surrendering. In 2nd chapter, 7th shloka, if you all have Bhagavad Gita, you all can see. That he says, now this is conditional surrender, where he is confessing that he is finding himself in a very bad position and he is asking for guidance. This is conditional. Then we find in 18th chapter another surrender. Very important for us to understand. There are two surrender, two levels of surrender which Arjuna is showing us. Now here Bhagavan is not telling what I have told you, you please obey. I am asking you to fight. Bhagavan is not telling that. Now here Arjuna is telling Bhagavan. He is telling Bhagavan, Nashtaha mohaha smritir labdaha. So now see, if you have seen, Smriti Vibramsha is there. Now Arjuna is at the end of 18th chapter. He is telling Smriti Labdaha, that I have got. I can recollect now everything, what I have learned. Tvat prasadat maya achyute. And this, that I have got the recollection that I have come out of this prajna aparadaha. It is because of your grace and blessings. Right? And then he says, Sitosmi Gata Sandeha. So whatever are my doubts, all have disappeared. Right? Karishye Vachanam Tava. So whatever you said, I will exactly do what you said. So this is Karishye Vachanam Tava, is complete surrender. That Bhagavan, you told me, get up in the chariot and start fighting. Now till then, Arjuna is seated in the chariot. He was not willing to fight. His Gandiva has slipped off his bow, correct? From his hands. Is it clear? Yes? So it would be appreciable if everyone keeps your video on. Otherwise, it will be like, only I am talking to Usha ji. Thanks to her that she always keeps a video on. I really appreciate. Yeah, thank you. Slowly, more videos are opening up.
Didi, there's one thing. Can you just explain once again the conditional surrender? Like yes. Arjuna is doing it. The first one is the conditional.
Yeah. I'm coming to it. Yes. I'll be elaborating it. Okay. So now, see, in the 7th shloka of the 2nd chapter, and you compare it going further in the 9th shloka. 9th shloka, though it is not Arjuna who is saying, but it is Sanjay is saying, Evam Ukta Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa Na Yotsya iti Govindam Uktva Tushnim Babuva. So he remains silent. I shall not fight. He says there, Na Yotsya iti Govinda. Though he surrendered, are you getting? He says that, are we getting? Here Arjuna is surrendering, but it is not complete surrender. If you have surrendered, then you wait for Krishna to tell you, give you the guidance, no? Whether you have to sit quiet, don't fight, run away from the battlefield, or you fight. Why is he taking this decision? He is saying, I will not fight. No, you would say, Govinda, I am not going to fight. That means you have decided. One thing you are surrendering, and next moment you are saying, I am not going to fight. Isn't it contradictory? So therefore, there is no complete surrender. He still feels that I am responsible for my actions. I need to do what is right, what is wrong. This is what it happens with us also. In our life, situations will come. It's not that situation will not come. And when situations come, what is our state? Have we surrendered? Even in trying situations, unpleasant situations, unconducive situations, unpleasant situations, what do we feel? Arey, we only find faults with Bhagavan. मैंने इतना किया, लेकिन भगवान ने कुछ नहीं किया. Bhagavan is doing everything for my enemies, but not keeping me in good state of mind. Are we getting? This is what we feel. No, this is not surrender. The total surrender comes when, even trying situations, in pleasant situations or in unpleasant situations, thy will be done. Like a flute. That is why Krishna is always shown with a flute, to tell us that we have to be a flute. The flute does not play on its own unless and until the flute player, he is called the fluter, right? Am I right? So he takes a flute, which is an instrument of music, and places it in his mouth and plays the music. The music will not come out of this flute, right? The flute does not play the music on its own. It relies completely on the flute player. Similarly, my mouth on its own will not talk. Correct? Because it is totally under my control. Therefore, the words are coming out. And what type of words should come out, I am determining. Right? Bhagavad Gita session, I am not taking autobiography of a yogi. No. That means I know what music should come out of my mouth, what words should come out of my mouth. Are you all with me? So that is complete surrender. How my mouth is in line with me. Right? Like see a drunkard. A drunkard, what? He will talk anything, no? So that means what? There is no complete alignment in his personality. His instrument is not under the control of his mind because his mind is not steady. Are you all with me? Okay, so this complete surrender is what is required. Now the question is, what to be surrender? Surrender is told. Shabnagati is told. Okay, what do we surrender? We surrender our desires, our decision making authority. We surrender to whom? To the higher authority. That is what we said, thy will be done. So we surrender at the altar of the higher authority. So whatever situations you are placed, I am ready. I am ready to be here. Like I recollect one small incident. One Acharya ji had shared. See what happened, there was one parents, they had only one child. Okay, and the child was mentally retarded, completely mentally retarded. Okay, so now these parents were totally dejected and they didn't want to go for the second child, because what would happen if suppose the second child also happens to be like this, right? So they were trying treatment after treatment, but nothing was working. Then ultimately they went to a very good great astrologer. So that the great astrologer who could read the past lives, told this couple that in the past life you all were, this husband and wife were prisoners. So they were prisoners, and this child was a jailer at that time. Now these prisoners wanted to escape from the jail. So what they did, they got a stone, and smashed his head. So as a result of which the jailer died probably, and in this Janma, these prisoners became husband and wife, and they got the jailer as their child, having to undergo that pain. So they have, see, whatever comes in our life is because of our past deeds. So now they have to take care of the child who is not equipped in his thinking power. Are you all getting how the karma works to us? So then once they understood that it is our own karma which is coming back, then they started taking good care of the child. They started giving donations in such institutions which such children were placed, and started sharing their money and everything, and slowly their life improved. So there was total acceptance, isn't it? This is total complete surrender. Till then they were agitated. Why is it happening? What is it happening? Ye kya ho gaya? So they started blaming the doctor. The doctor did not perform a good at the time of pregnancy, delivery was not done properly. So they started finding fault with the hospital authorities and this and that, or their parents, that they did not match the horoscope properly. They had gone to an astrologer who did not tell that whether this a horoscope would tally or not. So they were money minded, and thus we are all placed in such. But once this awareness came to them, then they became totally accepting the situations. Is it clear? Right. See, now one thing we have to understand: birds, animals, they live a programmed life. They cannot reprogram themselves. A crow was 10,000 years a crow, black in color. Now also the crow will be black in color. In future also the crow will be black in color and will be cawing only. It will not produce music like a myna, or will start saying words like a parrot. No, not at all. Right? An animal, a dog will always bark. Was barking earlier also, now also it is barking, in future also a dog will always bark. But you and I as a human being, we can reprogram ourselves, knowing our current situation. What is it? We need not be resigned to the situation. Are we getting? We can try to come out of it. We need not flow with the currents of the ocean. We can go against the current. It takes effort. See, flowing with the current is easy. Okay, situation bad hai, uske saath chale jao, it is easy. But to flow against the current, lot of effort, lot of determination, lot of courage is required. But definitely we can flow against. Are you all getting? Yes? So, Arjuna found a situation where he had to fight his own kith and kin, his near and dear ones. Had Krishna not been there, he would be overpowered by his emotions, and he will flow with these emotions and probably run away from the battlefield, or even get injured or dead in the battlefield. Are you getting the result? But he chose to surrender and flow against the current by following the instructions of Krishna, and thereby overpowering the situation, and thereby we know they won the Kurukshetra war. Though it was difficult, yes, it was difficult, it was not easy, right? He had to lose his child Ashwatha, who is it? Abhimanyu, right? He had to lose his own son Abhimanyu, and so many other things. He lost his kith and kin, and so much disgrace they had to ultimately bear. But at the expense of that, but still they won the war. Are you all getting a different perspective? Yes? Yeah. So this is what we find. So once Arjuna had though surrendered, not completely but partially also, Krishna is a kind Krishna, as we know, loving Krishna, compassionate Lord, chooses to give the highest knowledge, that is from shloka number 11 to 28, which I asked you all to memorize. Why this was required? Because see, now this one thing we have to understand, he is giving the knowledge. He is not telling him to fight. This is what we have to understand. Immediately when Arjuna, first is a state of despondency, depression, then surrender, then knowledge is given. Understanding the sequence? There is prajna aparadha. So now, we need to understand that there is a relationship between God and ourselves. Why should we surrender? To whom should we surrender? We have to surrender to the higher altar. Correct? Why God? See, the relationship between God and us, each one of us, is that of Anga Angi relationship. Anga Angi. Anga is a part, limb of Angi. Like for example, my mouth is a limb of the body. My hand is a limb of the body, a part of the body. Isn't it? So it is Gauna Mukhya Bhavaha. So there is something which is whole, the body is whole, and mouth is just a subordinate to the entire body. It is not the entire body, right? It's a limb which I am using to speak to you all, right? Similarly, hand is at my disposal. That means whatever I want, I can move the cursor and I can admit somebody. If I don't want, I need not admit the participants who are coming, right? So it is at my wish the hand is moving. On its own, the hand will not move to the, what is it called? Mouse to admit or not to admit the participants who are joining the session, right? So Angi is the hand and I am, Anga is the hand and I am the Angi, right? So it is also called Upakarye Upakaraka Bhavaha. Okay, so that which is doing upakara and to whom it the upakarya is being done, right? Whom it is benefiting, right? The hand is working for my benefit, isn't it? Not for anybody else's benefit. It is for my benefit, right? Now, so that means what? There is a Angi and there is a Anga, like at the individual level, that my body is not, what do you call? It is just an instrument. It cannot function on its own. It does not talk, walk, sing, dance, jump, sleep on its own. I am operating the body at the individual level. Similarly, we have at the cosmic level also. At the cosmic level, it is called Samashti and we are all Vyashti. So we all individuals together will have to work for the Samashti, Ishvara. Are we getting? See. Now, going little deeper into it. Now supposing when I am drinking water, what is happening? The water is outside and I am drinking the water. The essence of the water is becoming one with my body. It's quenching the thirst, right? And part of the water will go to digest the food what I have eaten. Part of the water which is not needed will be coming out of the urinary tract and will be thrown out. And part of the water may also come in the form of sweat beads. Are you all with me? I want complete attention. Thank you for responding. So this way we have, now supposing when we are breathing also, you will find there is a Vayu everywhere is circulating, the air is circulating. The air has so many 72 components in it. In that, our nose is picking up oxygen and inhaling and throwing out carbon dioxide. right? So what am I doing? I'm becoming one with the Vayu also. Correct? The Samashti, the Haya. So this way we have to be one. Are we getting? So whatever I'm breathing, there has to be oneness at the level of the Vayu also, at the level of the air also. Supposing for days together, if I don't drink water, what will happen? There will be dryness, right? I will probably lose my body weight. So whatever is my body weight, I may lose 2-3 kgs. Then I'll feel tired. Then if you don't drink water, our ability to think clearly will be lost. There will be even some of the organs will fail, like kidney needs water, right? Correct? And there would be nausea, feeling of drowsiness. So many health issues may come, right? Supposing if you just hold, I ask you all to hold your nose for half a minute, 1 minute, 2 minutes, can you all? So what will happen? Even death can occur. Are we getting? So there has to be that oneness. We have to flow in that oneness. We have to be in coordination. We cannot be in isolation. We cannot operate in isolation. Just like the limbs of the body is functioning, each and every limb of my body is functioning for the owner of the limbs. Similarly, we all have to function for that Ishvara, right? My hand will say, okay, I want the hand to move the mouse and admit somebody. My hand will say, no, I am not moving. So it is going against the will of the owner of the hand. Are we getting? So my mouth wants to talk about Bhagavad Gita and the mouth starts speaking about autobiography of a yogi. How will it sound? No. There has to be coordination. So similarly, at the cosmic level, there is Ishvara who is a controller, and now we have to ask him, what is your will? What is the purpose I have taken birth in my life, in this body? What do you want me to do? What are the lessons that I have to learn? What is the purpose of my life? Why have I taken birth in a particular family? Right? This we need to find out. What are the karmas that have come to exhaust myself? Why is this particular person in my life? What is this person, benefiting me? How is this person benefiting me? What is that lesson I'm getting from this person? Right? Some persons come into our life to teach us patience. Some persons come into our life to teach us generosity. Are you all with me?
Yes. Yes, Devi.
So this we have to find out. So similarly, Arjuna, he is surrendering and he is telling you, tell me now what to do. But then he is telling, now you say to Govinda, I'm not going to fight. Without even waiting for Krishna to talk and guide him, he says, I'm not going to fight. This is not the surrender. Are we getting? So with this, similarly, there has to be another level of surrender which we shall see next Sunday. Till then, please contemplate, and I want you all to